a mission, solving mysteries in the night. Chasing shadows, finding answers, shining bright light. No one's left behind, in the darkness all alone. With a heart like a siren, she brings the lost ones home. Silent cries in the dark no longer have to be. For justice wheels keep turning, Granny on the beat. Broken voices find their power, call out hope again. With Granny's crime busters run, no victims left in vain. Bravery in her veins, truth she won't disguise. With a fire in her eyes, she's got nothing to deny. Granny fights for justice, never backs down from the call. For the voiceless and the missing, she'll stand tall. In a world full of shadows, she fights the unseen. A guardian of the truth in this wicked dream. And every story told brings her back to life. Granny's on the case, cutting through the lies. She guards the broken hearted from the world that hides. With unwavering spirit, she wears no disguise. Searching for the lost pieces of a shattered life. Granny brings the dawn after a longest night. Oh.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you're doing good. Hello, Ginger. Good to see you. I wasn't sure if anybody saw the notice of me going on a little bit early. I was trying to keep from going at the same time as other bigger creators, and it just isn't working out. But today, if you were live with me earlier this morning, we did get the verdict in from the jury for the Megan Boswell case. It was guilty of first-degree red rum, and then all the other charges were guilty as well across the board. The jury just kind of did the whole thing. And then what I didn't realize was that the jury had to come back. They took a short break, and the jury had to come back, listen to some testimony from the defense side for sentencing recommendations for the first 3 charges, I believe. And we'll get into all that later, why that happened that way. I was not aware. I just thought the judge the sentencing. I mean, in a death penalty case, I know that the jury does, but I just was not aware that they did it this way. And a life, case. So I'm going to play the video. This one, yeah. And we'll watch that first and discuss it. And then I've got a couple of interviews that we can watch, and the interview after this explains why this happened the way that it did. Now, I apologize for the video. It's not the greatest. I think I will just make it full screen for you. But it's very grainy because it's a Zoom call. So, the other thing that I think, this news channel, as far as I know, I will put their link in the description after our live today. But from what I heard, that the Zoom was not supposed to be recorded. They did, so, and it's still up, so I'm just going to show it. Hopefully there won't be any issues.
All right. Madam Foreperson, did the jury come to a unanimous decision for sentencing on counts 1, 2, and 3?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you would deliver the verdict for count 1.
We, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life.
And did each member of the jury sign the form? All right. If that is each individual juror's verdict, please raise your right hand. Let the record reflect each juror raise their right hand. In count 2.
We, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life.
And did each juror sign the verdict form?
Yes, Your Honor.
If that is each individual juror's verdict, please raise your right hand. Record reflect that each juror has raised their right hand. And in both counts 1 and 2, did you find an aggravating circumstance?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Sorry, guys,
And in
that's
count
not
3,
on
did you
my
reach
end.
a
That's the
unanimous
Zoom.
verdict.
Yes, Your Honor.
And if you'll deliver that.
We, the jury, unanimously agree that the defendant shall be sentenced to imprisonment for life.
And did each juror sign the form?
Yes, Your Honor.
And did you find an aggravating circumstance?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, if the verdict that's been delivered for count 3 is each individual juror's verdict, please raise your right hand. Let the record reflect that each juror has raised their right hand. General, do you desire an individual poll?
Yeah.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
At this time, I propose that we release the jury from this case. Any opposition from the state?
Yes.
Defense?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your service. If you'll go with the officer. In count 1, the jury of your peers having set your punishment, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. In count 2, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. In count 3, you'll be sentenced to life imprisonment. We'll have to set this for sentencing hearing where we'll deal with merger, other issues, as well as sentencing in counts 4 through 20. Did she waive the 45 days, Mr. Scott?
She does.
So Megan had a bow in her hair today. She did cry for the verdict. Encourage you to go and watch this morning's video.
Sentencing in this case for May the 8th.
Judge, that is not good for me. I have a murder trial at Carter County the very next month. It's not good.
May the 16th.
I expect the Carter County murder trial. We've got 2 weeks blocked off.
May the 23rd.
Yes, sir, I'll be here.
Sentencing will be held May 23rd. Pre-sentence report needs to be filed no later than April the 15th.
Judge, you have May the 22nd. Instead of the 23rd.
I do.
We'll use that instead.
We can.
Thank you.
Is that good with the state?
Yes, Judge.
All right. May 22nd. We'll say at 1:30.
Yes.
At 1:30 p.m. Report by the Department of Corrections be filed no later than April the 15th. All right. Anything else we need to take up?
Nothing else.
Mr. Horn?
Yes, Judge. I think from this point going forward, since Mr. Scotland's primary counsel in this case, I would make an oral motion to be relieved as co-counsel on behalf of Megan Boswell
All right.
going forward.
You'll be relieved. You were appearing as co-counsel pro bono.
Yes, Your Honor.
The court thanks you for your service.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Court will be recessed till Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. for the next trial.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. So, May 23rd is the rest of her sentencing. Hello, Cheryl. Hello, Justice Jane. Baby Evelyn did matter, and she received justice today, right? Yes, what a day. What a day it has been. I hadn't been up very long, got my first cup of coffee, took the dog out, all those little morning things that you do. And I sat down and turned on my computer with my coffee by my side, and I turned on Recovery Addict and saw that a verdict was in, and I'm like, oh, so I'm trying to set up all my equipment really quickly. It was funny to go live and bring that to you guys. And I was on in plenty of time, which was fine. What you didn't see in between, it was quite the day. So they brought up for the sentencing phase, they brought up Megan's grandma. They brought up Angel, her mom. Her mom pretty much said that she failed Megan and she was asking for life versus no parole. And Megan's grandma said the same thing. Not that she failed her, but just that, she loved her and she would take her in a minute and please give her life with parole. Let her, and her foster mother got up and said the same thing. They all felt that, in other words, that Megan was redeemable, right? And that she should have life with parole, with the possibility of parole. So from everything I've heard with that sentence, until she's sentenced for counts 4 through 20, she could be out when she's 69 years old. Okay. Too late to have kids, that's a good thing because I don't think she should have any more children. But yeah, but what I have learned is, I'm just going to let the prosecution tell you. So the prosecutors held a news conference after the trial. So we're going to go ahead and play that. I think it's really kind of interesting. And it does answer quite a bit. So make sure you guys can see that all right. Okay.
And it's a lot of hard work by a lot of people. So it was very satisfying to get the jury's verdict.
Normally, we sometimes hear a victim impact statement in cases like this, and we didn't hear one this time. Maybe a little bit from Tommy Boswell, but it seems like you are the advocates for Evelyn. What do you have to say about that?
That's a complicated question, to say the least. Obviously, there are a lot of emotions in this case. Even within the Boswell family. You all saw Tommy testify. His daughter was the defendant. His granddaughter was the victim in this case. A lot of emotions. Same thing with Angela. So, but we're fortunate.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. I kind of wanted to stop there because Angela was arrested right after this for outstanding warrants. Nothing, it wasn't drug related or anything like that. Looked to me, near as I could tell, that she got into a car accident and then left the scene and didn't help the person that was hurt in the accident, and also didn't show up for court, failure to appear. So, yeah, right after she testified, she was arrested. That family, I tell you what, guys. Okay, so I just wanted to check chat real quick.
And I would be remiss without talking about the incredible work that was done by law enforcement in this case. And, you know, as a community, could not be prouder to have those folks who really, from the get-go, from the time she was reported missing, who've really been her biggest advocates during these 5 years, to see, you know, ultimately what we realized here in the courtroom today, which was justice for everyone.
Even with that exhaustive investigation, all of the interviews, all of the forensic evidence that was gathered, you know, Ms. Massengill even acknowledged we still may never know exactly what happened. Did you have to rely on the jurors' common sense and taking might be a shred of doubt and separating that from what reasonable doubt is in this case?
To some extent. I mean, I think always coming from a prosecutor, it's I guess easy to say, well, you know, we think you should decide the case this way. But this really was, you know, a textbook example of, you know, just excellent police work, you know, for us to be able to come into the courtroom, to be able to present a case where you really don't have direct evidence. I mean, we didn't have a confession. You know, we didn't have a video of the crime being committed. You know, you had to rely on a lot of circumstantial evidence. And, you know, as we argued during closing argument, you're going to have to use your common sense to fill in some of those gaps that were there. So, yes.
General Massengill, during closing, you talked about the baby Evelyn mattered. Where'd you come up with that?
Because it's the truth. She mattered and she deserved to live. And I wanted the jury to know that.
How hard was it working on this case and seeing all those images, the baby in the trash can?
It's very difficult, and it's difficult to show something like that to a jury or to the public. But it's important that we show everyone what Megan Boswell did. It's difficult, but we're willing to do it to find justice.
Can you talk about the impact that, you know, this community has said these questions for 5 years now and finally have answers?
Right. And I think that was difficult. You know, unfortunately, we made some very purposeful decisions as we were prosecuting the case, which I think a lot of people kind of took umbrage with. You know, we did not release much about this case on purpose because we wanted to try the case here in Sullivan County. And I think that caused a lot of heartburn among people not to have those answers, not to know that information about the case. And we, you know, kind of told them just to be patient because we wanted to try the case in the courtroom.
Okay, I wanted to stop it there, guys. Did you hear what he said? They didn't tell a whole lot of what was going on. And people in the community were very upset about that. And, you know, he said we had to just tell people, please be patient because we want to try the case in the courtroom. What does that make you think of? It made me think of the Sebastian Rogers case, guys. It made me think of that. So we may get frustrated and upset because we're not getting information from law enforcement. I can't tell you how many times that's been posted in chat, right? And I understand it is frustrating. But look at what this prosecutor just said. They needed to keep things close to the vest because they wanted this case tried in the courtroom. And so when you're frustrated and when you're upset about us not having information for Sebastian, try to go back and remember what this prosecutor said here, okay? Because we do, whenever Sebastian is found and whenever things start to go to court, people arrested, we want that case to go forward to get a conviction like they got here, right? And for some reason, I felt like this was going to be guilty across the board. But I have to tell you, when we were watching it, I was a little bit afraid, you know. But I do feel that the defense attorney had a lot to do with them coming back with a guilty verdict all the way through, right? Let's finish listening to the prosecutor here.
And we feel like that's what we did.
Was there a piece of evidence or something that you think really sealed the deal for the jurors on making this decision?
I don't know that there was any one singular piece of evidence. I think the difficult thing in this case really is those interviews with Megan and the fact that, her story kept changing, kept shifting. And, there were lots of little things, that kind of ruled other things out. But I think ultimately, it was a lot of her own words that were her undoing in this case.
And what about how the baby was found? That is something that I think has hit home, and you could tell from day one, from the images you showed, jurors were crying, she was crying.
Right.
What do you want to talk about when it comes to that?
I mean, it's disturbing. I mean, it truly is. And, we made a decision in trying this case because, there were a lot of charges. Obviously, the lies and stuff that she was telling the jury. We didn't want the focus of the case to be on that. I mean, to us, that was the easy kind of low-hanging fruit, so to speak. We wanted the focus to be on the homicide. We wanted it to be on Evelyn and what happened to her. And that was why we kind of hit the jury right in the face, right out of the gate. And so, like I said, that was strategy on our part as far as, how we kind of put the trial together. We wanted them to, right from the get-go, know that this was a homicide case. This wasn't just somebody lied to the police case.
I like that. And it wasn't it? I mean, we heard about all the lies. We could see the lies. But like you said, that was low-hanging fruit. They wanted the focus to be on Evelyn because, as Justice Jane says, baby Evelyn mattered, right? Yeah, I think Katie knows too. Yeah, but we don't know what they know, right? Right, Jane? I mean, we don't know what they've got, kind of like how the community felt about the Megan Boswell case, that nothing was coming out, nothing was being said. They didn't know what was going on, right? And look at the conviction that came through, right? And he's right. I mean, they didn't have a confession. They didn't have a video showing the red rum, right? Or even of her placing the baby in the trash can. Nothing. They had to rely on fingerprint, right? On the trash bag that was pushed down on top of the baby, right? On the tinfoil, they had to rely on that stuff. And like you said, there's a lot of holes. But then you just got to kind of use your common sense to say, this is what she did. Yes, rest in peace, sweet baby Evelyn. Yeah, just, the entire family, and you didn't get to see Angela Boswell's testimony. She cried through the whole thing. Maybe if we have time tonight, I'll try to pull it up yet. If you guys want to see that. I think they did at some point when the medical examiner was on there, but the decomp was so bad, they couldn't get anything. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. Yeah. Which, all right, let's continue.
Megan will be eligible for parole when she's about 69 years old. As a prosecutor team, you asked for life without the possibility of parole. What is your take now that the jury decided to give her a chance?
You want to answer it?
We will continue to fight to keep her in custody until, for her natural life, if possible.
Can she face more years than that though with the other like charges?
Listen, guys.
She can. The judge will still have to sentence her on all the false report counts, the tampering, the abuse of a corpse, the failure to report charge. So in theory, he could run those consecutive and he could stack that time on top of what she's already received for the homicide.
Is
So
that something you all get to urge him to do in
We
your
do.
sentencing report?
we do. There'll be a sentencing report and then we'll have a sentencing hearing. That's what's set the end of May. And then we'll go from there. Both sides will have a chance to argue what her sentence should be on those.
Do you know how many?
So what he just stated was that, okay, so she could get out at 69, but there are all the charges 4 through 20 that he's got to sentence her on yet. He could make those consecutive, which means that they would run on top of each other. And so once she's eligible for parole, the next one will kick in. And when that one's out, the next one will kick in, and so on and so forth. That she'll end up just, if the judge decides to do that. Do I think she ever moved her? I don't know. Possible. We don't know what happened, right? The only thing we can hope is that maybe she'll get some mental health help, some counseling, and at some point will tell the truth about what she did and let us know what happened, right? But I mean, are we ever going to believe her, guys? That's the thing. Are we ever going to believe her? She told so many lies that, how are we ever going to believe a word that comes out of her mouth?
A year she looks at for those additional charges too?
Yes, the false reports should be looking at 2 to 4 years on those. The tampering charge will be 3 to 6. And I think the abuse of a corpse and the failure to report are both 1 to 2 years on those.
I know that law enforcement, even one of the agents or one of the people who testified said that everyone else was ruled out, including Hunter Wood. But clearly, whether it was in the community or certainly under the defense's strategy, that was an if that they wanted to put out there. How important were those text messages that you guys were able to put up, showing what was going on, what apparently was going on, at least in Hunter Wood's mind, as this child was now known to be missing?
All right, you want to comment?
I think they're very, very important. I don't know how you can overcome that in my mind. When we found those, I don't know there's an explanation, for them.
Was there anything else y'all want us to know? I know it's been a very long.
That law enforcement officer has to feel good, right? because he was the one that was interviewing her. I saw him in the courtroom sitting with the prosecution most of the time. He was off to the right-hand side, so you couldn't see him all the time, but he was there. I'd see him bend over, like forward, and I'd be like, that's that law officer that, and so he has to probably feel pretty good. It's not a day for rejoicing, right? Because it's still a really sad day. That baby doesn't get to live her life, right? And there's people that were hurt by Megan through all this, right? And if anything, what I'd love for Megan to feel and to understand in her heart and her soul was when her mom and her grandma and her foster mom stood up there and begged for her. Even her mom, I know her mom is in a lot of trouble, guys. I know she's been in trouble. She admitted to doing drugs, opiates, mostly, she said. And I mean, she took the blame. She said she failed Megan. And I hope that Megan feels that kind of familial love, right? Because no matter what that mother was like, and I don't know how the grandma was, but her mother, her dad even, and her grandma, and then her foster mom, all going to bat for her. They never hurt her, right? And so I just, I hope she thinks about that as she sits in her prison cell. I hope she sits and thinks about how she failed Evelyn with that kind of love.
Almost 2 weeks.
Well, like I said before, I mean, I think, if the community ever had any doubt about how hard law enforcement works, I hope they had a chance to see that in action in this trial, because like I said, you really could not have asked for any more diligent, exhausting efforts than what we saw from, our local law enforcement here at the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office, TBI, FBI. I mean, it truly was a coordinated effort.
Is this the first time in a while too? I know that the judge mentioned it, but for you all, that a jury has been sequestered?
It was. I don't know that I was part of the last one, but I know it's been about 20 years since the last time we sequestered a jury. So,
Wow.
anything else?
Thank you,
Oh,
Scott.
thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So they were done. I got another one here. I don't know if you guys are really going to want to watch them, but it's only 3 minutes. Here's our favorite person.
Asking that jury to show some mercy and some clemency and saying that she felt like Megan Boswell was redeemable. Talk about that interview that she gave for you and her knowledge of Megan's character.
Well, obviously, Gail spent more time with her than I have in that type of situation. Most of my conversations, all of my conversations with Megan have been sitting in a jail cell talking about her case. But she seems to be a very positive person. She seems strong in her faith, and she's going to handle this. And she seems like she'll move through this adversity. She will have a chance to get out of prison when she's 69.
Yeah, I mean, did you feel like that was a win today, though? Being able, that she will possibly get out of prison?
I would say that obviously it was better than a life without sentence. assuming she lives to be 69 years old, she will be released. So maybe she'll have some time at the end of her life to enjoy.
Is there something about cases that are this horrifying and go on for this long and get this much community attention that raises the possibility of a feeling of retribution in the community being higher than it might otherwise be?
Well, certainly, if you look at the comments on the news articles, Facebook comments, people seem to be very much up in arms over this case. And it's a sad case. I know I've been criticized a lot in the media because of defending Megan, but
Hello,
everyone's
K9.
entitled to a defense. And that's what I hope I provided her. I tried to do that to the best of my ability.
It sounds like that's something you're not stopping today.
Absolutely not.
You decided to pull 3 witnesses for this part of the trial. Why did you decide to do that, then, and talk about why you decided to bring Angela up?
As far as today was just witnesses, there are 2 phases of the trial, and all witness testimony has to be relevant. So these witnesses, their testimony wouldn't have been relative to guilt or innocence, but it was relevant to sentencing. Her mom, to her credit, come up here and testified that she wasn't a good mother. And I respect her for that, because it had to be hard to go on TV and take that responsibility, but she did it.
Do you know if Angela Boswell knew that she had been out for her?
I don't know that. I imagine yes.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna double. You guys can go ahead.
Anything
They
else you
might
want to
not-
add?
I don't think so.
Okay. Can we redo the first part because they were not rolling on it back at the
Oh,
station?
yeah.
But
Okay. So he was pretty much done. I was trying to find her mother's testimony. Let's see if I.
You married Tommy Boswell when you were how old?
First time 15.
You speak into that microphone
Oh,
just a little more, please.
The first time 15.
And when did you become pregnant with your first child with him?
I had my first in April and turned 16 in July. So,
Okay, and who was that child?
Tommy Jr.
Okay. And then you had Megan at some point. How old were you when you had Megan?
There's 8 years difference. I was almost 24.
It's okay. So let's talk about Megan's life growing up. Would it be fair to say that during her lifetime, she's witnessed drug use between you and her father?
Yes.
What type of drugs?
Opiates, mainly.
Scoot up and speak into that so the jury can hear you.
Opiates, mainly.
Did that drug use lead to other problems?
Yeah. Arguments, fighting, yes.
Okay. You say there
Strife
strife.
is what it brings, yes. Nonstop.
Is that something that went on pretty much her entire childhood
Yeah.
growing up?
Yeah, from the time she was pretty little, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Good. Now, did she witness fights between you and her father?
Yes.
Okay. I think at some point her father was convicted of aggravated assault and kidnapping.
Yes.
Were you the victim in that?
Yes. Mm.
Do you remember ever taking Megan to any NAAA meetings with you?
Yes, I did.
How old was she when you did that?
She was probably about 7 or 8. First ones I started taking her to 7 or 8, 8 or 9, somewhere around in there. Mm.
Now due to the strife in your home, was she raised by her grandparents to some degree?
Yes.
Okay. What were their names?
Mary and Danny Boswell.
Mary Boswell, would that be who's known as a mommy?
Yes. Mhm.
These problems, do you feel that it's partly your fault, the problems Megan's experienced?
No, absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Now, unfortunately, your problems that they went on up into, we saw a video in here, you being brought down from the jail to talk with her in
Mhm.
2020.
Yeah. Mhm.
So even up until the time she went to jail, you were in and out of jail. Okay.
Yes. I've been.
Have you been convicted of numerous crimes?
Yes.
Now, have you managed to straighten up at this point?
I have. Yes.
You hoping to?
Yes. I pray every day.
Have you met? Gosh, I know I shouldn't laugh, but oh my gosh, have you managed to straighten up? Yes, yes, I have. The minute she walks out of the courtroom, she's arrested, guys. Oh. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He's probably the nicest thing I can say at that point. I'm sorry. So you guys, some allow children and some don't. Okay. I went to Al-Anon. There were never any children there, but I don't know if they would have been allowed or not. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just, you know, I never thought about it. It's up to the individual group. Yeah, they're pretty much even though they give a guideline, they're pretty much on their own. All right, let's continue on with this one.
Yeah, and just to do my best and try. I've learned the importance of a mother's role, but not for Megan. I didn't.
All right.
I failed her on that miserably.
And you're here asking the jury to give her a sentence of life as opposed to life without.
It's Maggie is at her core. She is a generous, kind-hearted person, and through all Maggie's went through, Maggie still has potential. She was trying so hard. She didn't repeat my mistakes. Maggie learned from my mistakes. And she was trying to do better with Eve. She wasn't repeating. I think she got saddled with, just because of my mistakes that she did those, and that was not it. That was not the case with Evelyn.
Would it be fair to say she didn't have?
What are your guys' thoughts at this point? Megan didn't repeat my mistakes. No, Megan did something worse than you did. You didn't harm Megan mentally. I mean, but physically you did not harm Megan. Is that bugging you guys as well? %. Yeah. I mean, I get what she's trying to say, because there is such a thing as generational curses, passing kids learn what they're taught, right? And then it's passed down and at some point it has to be broken. So I get that part. right? Megan didn't end up in jail. I mean, a lot, right? She wasn't arrested all the time like her mother is. So, but what she did was worse. So, just as Megan is in denial, her mother is in denial about what she did, about what Megan did. Yeah, I don't think it's sugarcoating alone, Jane. I think it's denial. I think there's a level of denial here on both of them. I was watching, and I explained this earlier today, but I was watching Hidden True Crime last night about Megan. And everything that Dr. John said was so true. And it was like, it was almost as if he could see Megan, you know. And one of the big things that he said about her was she is in denial, big time. And I think her mother is as well. Was Angela already? No. No. But as soon as she walked out of that courtroom, they got her. They let her testify first. She had warrants out for arrest for failing to appear to court for that accident. I mean, so it's not like it was drugged or anything like that, guys. So, you know, but still, she knew better. And what's the link for what? The morning one? Ginger, can you find that and put it in chat if that's what she's asking for? But
A good role model for the mother should
No,
be.
no, she did not.
Answer any of Ms. Massengill or Mr. Harper's questions.
I don't have any questions.
okay. So the other one that was on the stand was her grandma just talked about how Megan would stay with her every once in a while, and that she really didn't know what was going on in Tommy and Angela's household. So she really didn't give a lot of input. The one that did seem to give a lot of input, which I was really surprised at some things that came out, was her foster mother. She said at 17, when she got Megan to her home at 17 and pregnant, Megan was 17 and pregnant. Remember, 17 and pregnant. Her hair was so matted and full of lice that it took them a long time. She had trouble. She took her to a beauty salon to try and have her hair cut because they couldn't get a comb through it. And then finally, that beauty shop wouldn't touch it. And finally, they got a beautician to come to a church to cut her hair into like a bob. And then they still had to, I don't know if any of you have had to deal with lice in your children from school or anything like that, but wash everything in hot water every day, comb out the lice, use that medicine on it, that kind of stuff. And it takes a while if they're really bad. So there was that. The other thing that was notable to me is that the I was looking at chat. Sorry. The other thing that was noticeable was that she had been RAPED, RAPED, before she came to the foster mom's home. Now I didn't catch it in chat, but in Recovery Addicts chat today, which I tried to go back in, I was nosy. I admit it. Hands up in the air. But what I had noticed was his wife got on and said, "Guys, please do not put the name of the biological father in the chat." She said that was never brought out in trial. We do not want to put his name in chat because, it's not lawful. So evidently somebody must have been local and knew the name of the person who was the father of Evelyn. But so that never did come out in trial, guys, and it didn't come out today either. Well, you saw the condition of her trailer, right? When she lived at her dad's. Evidently, one of the things that her mom failed her with was taking care of herself and her surroundings, right? And they said she went into foster care for truancy. It wasn't for anything else but truancy. Well, she probably didn't want to go because she had those lice and she was being teased, I'm sure. A 17-year-old with lice and their hair's all matted. Yeah. I'm sure she was getting teased. But that was my question too, Cheryl. Wouldn't you at 17 know that you need to take care of yourself? I mean, I found that shocking, honestly, to listen to her stepmom or her foster mom talk about that. It shocked me. And she felt sorry for her. Yeah, lice is a nightmare. I know. How was she going to care for a baby? And thank God her foster mom showed her how, but obviously she didn't care. She did it when she had someone around her, right? She did what she had to do. But the minute that she was on her own, she didn't take care of anything. Including Evelyn. When you look at that swing, right? Yeah, she wouldn't listen to her dad and go to school. Well, was she getting teased for being dirty, guys? Is that why she didn't want to go to school? That's my question. The other question is, why didn't the school catch it and send her home with a note? Yeah, she took care of her younger siblings. Great. Great is all I can say. She didn't belong taking care of anyone until she got some training. And even then, I mean, obviously she needed mental help. So if she was ARD and we heard what kind of life she lived in with her mother and father, her mother told us, right? Drugs and fighting constantly. She took off from her dad's to stay with her mom, and that is when she got the lice. Yuck. Her little siblings might have had them. But where was her mom? Why didn't her mom help her get rid of the lice? Right? Oh, but she's learned her lesson. Yeah, there is. I definitely think so, right? Yeah, CPS gave the children to the dad. And I get that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely canine. I believe that too. That's why I didn't really say much about Oh Mammy or whatever she's called. She just turned a blind eye. So was this a generational thing? Man beating the woman, Hello, SRB. Good to see you. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't believe Grandma either. I believe she knew everything. But that generation, blind eye to everything, right? Heaven forbid you should admit to anything and you don't tell anyone outside the family what's going on. You never admit to nothing. Yeah. Just, I wish that Megan would have had the strength to tell someone that she couldn't take care of Evelyn and that she needed to give her up. Because I think, there were people who would have taken her. Her old boyfriend's mother would have, I know, or the foster mom. But even if they wouldn't have, there's still always adoption. And I wish she would have had the strength to say that. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true, Ginger. If mom was using opioids during her pregnancy, there could be lots of things that we don't know about. They have to do a report, don't they? For the sentencing guidelines. Isn't it a mental health report? I mean, it's a sad day because yes, we got the verdict that we wanted, right? We did. But Evelyn's still gone. And as a young baby, she had to go through we don't know what. Her death alone had to have been horrific. Because we don't know what really happened. Whether she was abandoned and then shoved in, and died and then shoved into that thing. Is that why that swing was so dirty? I mean, I don't know. There's so many. One thing I do know is it wasn't a rollover incident. Couldn't have been. for one, she's too big. So if you're rolling over on her, you're going to feel her. Number two, she's going to squirm. Get out of the way. Scream and cry. Do something, right? Yell. Unless she was drugged, then she maybe wouldn't move out of the way, but you would definitely feel her, you know. There's no way. And I do want to encourage you, if you have the time, to go and listen to Hidden True Crimes from last night, because it was so good. The things, he didn't diagnose Megan, right? But remember the statement that Megan made many, many times about the baby being mean as F-U-C-K, right? He said that that's all she knew growing up was hate and meanness, right? Her parents were probably mean to her. They were mean to each other. That's all she knew. So if a baby reaches out and pulls your hair, she's going to immediately think that that baby's being mean to her, and she's going to retaliate, right? How many babies pull hair? Or if the baby slaps her because she wants her food or something, right? She's immediately going to think that that baby's mean to her, and she's going to retaliate. What Dr. John said was incredible. It was as if he talked to Megan, and it was so clear to me, and without a diagnosis. He's really good at what he does. He's a forensic psychologist, among other things, and he's really, really good with what he does. Yes, she was the cutest little baby. Cutest little thing. Those pictures just make you want to pick her up and hug her, doesn't it? I love all children, right? But babies, you just want to squeeze them, don't you? Breathe in their smell, Babies have just a wonderful smell when they don't have poopy pants. But yes, it's gonna be interesting. She did cry. That was one of the things that Dr. John talked about. When he saw her cry, her emotions, he said, are real. So that in his opinion from afar, he doesn't believe that she's got psychopathic traits, because psychopaths don't feel emotion, right? Without, diagnosing her, he said he would put her in the bucket of personality disorders, right? Which there's a few to choose from in that bucket, but I found that to be very interesting, which is true. I mean, people are so quick to say psychopath or, and really, he's trained. He's got a trained eye to see things, right? Because of his schooling. No, I haven't been. I'd be throwing up, Ginger. I had trouble with my own children. Oh gosh, I'd have to hold my nose, and it's only gotten worse as I've gotten older. I can't. My stomach is so weak. I took care of my mom in hospice along with my sister. And the hospice nurse would come couple of times a week. And then the same thing with my dad. And then Brenda Joe's mom. And I, even, what was a little over a year ago now, with Brenda Joe's mom, the hospice nurse for my mom had taught me a little secret. So I had took Febreze and sprayed it on my shoulder, and then would take a big whiff of my shoulder just before I had to clean up, or even have to step back and take another whiff of my shoulder again to keep myself from throwing up, because I have a weak stomach. Oh, I would never be able to do it. I couldn't. No. Whether it comes out of the mouth or the other end, no, thank you. Yeah, that's what I heard. Vicks under your nose helps. I heard that later, after I didn't need it anymore. Hopefully I don't need to do it anymore. But yeah. And to me, the Vicks would be better because it's right there. So you're smelling it constantly versus anything else, right? Yeah. Assisted living. No. See, something I could never do. I was always in the office, office person. My dad, even my mom back in the day, and my sister all worked in factories, right? But I had started out in retail, but I really was. I started out in catalog, Montgomery Ward's catalog department. I'm really dating myself now, right? Because I could write fast, take the orders over the phone, write fast, and and then do the typing at the end of the day to type the orders into the main office to get the orders out. And then I moved upstairs to the finance office, and it just kept going from there. I worked in finance for the last management. It's like 20 years. Oh, yeah. I bet the mask did help. Hello, Jackie O, by the way. Yeah. Ugh. I could not do it. Or think about what a medical examiner has to do, guys. Especially in this case, because they said the decomp was so bad. Well, you could see that officer trying to open up the bag and take that stuff and show it to the jury. He was about losing it. And I think it wasn't just the smell. I think it was both. I think he was reliving how he saw baby Evelyn. I think it was a combination of both, and I felt so bad for him. Chicken poo. I wouldn't know. Yeah, I would have had to leave the courtroom too. I'm sure that the whole courtroom could smell it. And the jurors probably the worst, because that was right where they were, right? They were probably like, "Oh, don't show us." The pig farms are far worse. Oh man. Oh, yuck. It's some people with strong stomachs in here. Not for me. Could not do it. I did what I had to do with my mom and dad because, well, you just do, right? You know, you want to make their transition as easy as possible, and you just do. With my dad, though, I wasn't there all the time, so my sister and her girlfriend took care of him a lot. I had to work. When my mom was in hospice, I had just come back home, so I wasn't working. I left Tennessee to come back to take care of her, and so that was a little bit different situation. But my dad, I was still working, and I was manager of an office, so I had to be there every single day. Yeah. Yeah, those jurors saw way more than we did. They didn't show a lot of the stuff on screen for us, which I'm glad they didn't. I wouldn't have wanted to be a juror in that case. Yeah. No, thank you. You know, my hearing is frustrating, but I do thank God I don't have to be a juror because of it, because I'd never be able to hear them. Yeah, I can't. But I mean, now it's just a matter of the last 4 through 20 charges, right? That she gets. So we'll just find out whether they're going to run consecutive or concurrent, you know. If he runs them concurrent, she still has the option to be out at 69 years old. Which, like Mr. Scott said, if she lives that long, right? We don't know. Oh, wow. Long crime did show him, huh? Ugh. No, thank you. See, I think even if I saw him, I don't think I'd show him on my channel. I just, long crime, that's different, right? But RA doesn't either. He doesn't, he will pan if they show anything. And so I don't think I would do it either. I just wouldn't. I couldn't. I figure if you guys really want to see that, you'll go find another place to go see it. But I think for the most part, most of us here will be happy not to see it. It's enough knowing how she was found, right? I mean, that's a visual in itself. We don't need to see it. We didn't need to see them taking the layers off the body because we knew what layers were there and how hard it was for them to peel those layers off without peeling off her tissue. And when they talked about it, that gave us a visual. We didn't need to physically see it. Yeah. Yeah. I think I would be too. I think I would be too. Yep. Yeah, the description is bad enough. It's just that's visual enough for me. You know, I think for most people, when they tell you how they found her and how they were trying to peel those layers off, I mean, to me, that was graphic enough. I didn't need to see it. Because I could picture it, and I didn't want to. Oh gosh, Ginger, yes. If you have a photographic memory, you don't want, yeah. Mhm. You don't want to see certain things, right? Yeah. What just, I don't know, disheartens me is the thought of what that baby went through before she passed. You know, um, they said that if she had been put in there alive, which, you know, they can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that she was, right? That it would have been a horrific death. But I think that either way, I don't imagine, you know, because she suffocated. So either way, it couldn't have been very, very good. Yeah, with Gannon Stowe. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Her and Letitia have a lot of the same tendencies. Even Dr. John said that. Yes. Exactly, SRB. That memory, um, you know, I'd rather remember her like this. That sweet little baby, right? That's how I want to remember her. Yeah. I think so too, Melissa. Yeah. That's no mean little baby right there. That's a cute little toddler. Well, Letitia told plenty of lies as well. Letitia told plenty of lies. Yeah, I just look at that little baby and wonder how somebody can do that. What dark places does somebody have to go to take a life of a little one like that? Yeah, they're not mean ever. No. They learn what they're taught. They learn what they're taught. They mimic the person they're around. Just not good. I don't know. I just feel so bad for her. So have you guys heard about the rose petal case? I see RA is on that one now, and that one's gone to trial. The suspect that's on trial is a classical pianist. Yeah. There is K9. And I would be just fine if we don't have another baby case right away. Between Sebastian and this one, you know, I know Summer Wells is still out there. That baby has to be found. You know, but that one's wild, Ginger. I know you were watching it earlier today, so what's going on with that case? Do we want to cover it? Because nothing's happening in Sebastian's case. um and it's really funny, guys. This is something that will tell you I'm not just in it for clicks and views, right? Anytime that I do a video, a live on Sebastian, I get lots of views. Not so much with the other cases. This case is a little more, but it's still nothing compared to Sebastian's case. Every time I do something on Sebastian, it's way up there. But I'm not going to just keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, right? I mean, we know about the flashlights. We know about the pictures that came out that there were lights on in the home at 3:00. You know, we all have our own thoughts on who's responsible. I'm not gonna. And what's scary about that case is that the lawsuits, right? Yes, me too, K9. I still put his picture out every day, whether it's a short video of just his picture with a moving thing in the background to get people's attention. I'm not going to give up on that because he's still out there. But I'm not going to just do a video or a live just for the sake of getting views, because there's, until or unless something happens, we're just going to be talking about the same old, right? And we're still going to be complaining about who we think is responsible. And yes, death threats, lawsuit, people going to jail, and I don't want a part of that, right? I think I've done a really good job of staying out of that. You know, it's all drama. And why? I mean, one of the last posts that At Night did was there's $100,000 hit out on them. Why? I do not get that, right? I do not understand why they're putting hits on Sebastian, on people that want to find Sebastian. Yes. You're mostly following Sebastian, Summer, and Michael Vaughn. Yeah. Exactly. Michael Vaughn. I forget about him too. Yes. He's still out there. We don't know where he is. But when something of note happens in those cases, then yes, I'll definitely be all over it, right? But it is emotionally exhausting. It is. it's really, really hard. That's why sometimes in my morning news clips, I'll put something fun in there. Surprise people once in a while with something fun in my morning news clips. This morning, I think it's this morning's, was about the Doobie Brothers coming back. How many knew about the Doobie Brothers coming back? Does anybody know who the Doobie Brothers are? I'm dating myself. Yeah, it's turned into a circus. I heard about that one too. I saw just something really quickly on that one. How old were her daughters? Do we really want to go there, guys? Canine, you know who they are. I think my aunt was. Oh gosh. That was this morning's video. You even get to hear a little clip of it. Oh goodness. Oh, 9 and twins, 2 and 7. Ugh. Oh. Oh my goodness. I just said that I didn't want to. What are you doing to me, K9? Now I kind of got to know what's going on in that case. Oh man. Maybe that'll be tomorrow. And Melissa, it's still the same people. They're like 79 years old. They're gonna rock it out on the stage. They have a bunch of tour dates set up all over the United States. They even put out a new song. John Benet Ramsey, what does everyone think? You know, I don't know. I honestly don't know. They have said her brother, they have said her dad. Yeah, I was a teenager in the 70s too, Melissa, so I do remember them. I liked them. Down and around the corner. You're not a fan, but bless their hearts. Kanan, you think the son did it? You think the neighbor guy with John Bonet? See, they got so many, but they can't prove any of it, can they? I know. I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I did I did talk about it this morning. When I lived in Duluth, right across the bridge is Superior, Wisconsin, right? And Superior had their annual fair, and Loverboy played at their annual fair. So my girlfriend and I, Oh yeah, let's go see Loverboy, right? Oh my God. I I sat there and when they came out on the stage, they were jumping and I'm like, their gray hair and they have their red bandanas on their head and they have the psychedelic clothes on, like the tie-dyed tie-dyed t-shirts. And they were jumping around to their music and all I could do was laugh. They sounded excellent. It was the same guys. They sounded excellent, but all I could do was laugh. It just looked bad. I mean, they should have dressed for the day, not how they did back in the 70s because it didn't look good. The interview room has a good video on what, Cheryl? JonBenét? Yes. Yes, the police really did mess up with the JonBenét case, just like Sebastian. They let everybody walk through there, and you know what? Protocols were set up after the JonBenét case that were supposed to be followed in every missing child's case going forward. And in Sebastian's case, they didn't do it that many years later. And look at the problems we've got now. I know. We have so much technology these days. It makes you wonder why things are taking so long. Oh, me too. Me too. My aunt, my family was from Chicago, right? And he was going to be in Chicago. My aunt got us tickets, but I already lived up here in Wisconsin. So my aunt called my mom because she knew I loved Elvis. But see, my mom loved Elvis too. Okay. Kind of give you an idea what my mom was like back then. Shh. She, my aunt said, I want to take Linda, can we get her down here maybe on a bus or something? And I'll take her to Elvis's concert. She can stay with us and I'll put her on a bus back home. Absolutely not, my mom said. Absolutely not. And yes, he died right after that. Couple of years. Maybe even only a year, right? Yeah. I think it was because my mom wanted to go. Yeah, I grew up listening to his music. My parents both loved music. I will give them that. My dad loved to dance, and he was still dancing. I'll show you guys a picture. He was still dancing. Let's see, I bet if I brought up Canva. Just a couple of years before he died. I don't have that picture. Not available right now anyway, but yeah. I think the last time we danced together was at my daughter's wedding, my youngest daughter's wedding. And he was in his 80s. And he was fast dancing. He did a jitterbug with my daughter to Blue Suede Shoes from Elvis. So it was pretty awesome. but he taught me how to dance. The Who, okay. They were all right. They weren't the greatest, but hello, Castle. Good to see you. Yeah. Yeah. It's always sad when you don't get to go see the one you wanted to. That's why, if you're a member, you've got to go watch our last members live. I had someone on my bucket list to see, and I got to see him for my 65th birthday. And I shared that whole story. See, I'm not that big of a fan, right? When my daughter was getting married, she got married in Nashville, right? So we went after the wedding, we drove to Memphis so I could take my dad through Graceland. So that was kind of a neat thing for me and my dad to do. He was really excited about that, being able to see Elvis's house. Oh. Me too, K9. You were in the checkout line. The checker didn't know who you was. We had the radio going in the catalog department at Montgomery Wards. I had only just started, and I remember them saying, "Breaking news, Elvis Presley has died," and I started crying. Yes, Castle, this was heartbreaking. It was horrible. No. I did live in Tennessee for about 3 years. I moved back to Wisconsin to take care of my mom years ago. And I've been here since. Now I'm retired here, so I'm not going to live in Tennessee. Sebastian case? No, I'm not going to live in Tennessee. The people are weird in Tennessee. You found the puzzle under the bed. That's sweet. So Castle and my oldest daughter went to college in Tennessee and then moved to Nashville for her job. She worked for, at the time it was a Christian recording art company. I don't know if you guys ever heard of DC Talk, Forefront Records. And then it became EMI later. She worked for them for a long time. And when my youngest graduated, she moved down there by her sister. So, yeah. So then I moved down there by them for a while to be near my girls. I love Tennessee. I love the rolling hills and the weather. But are you from Tennessee, Castle? She knew Bill Wilson, the founder of AA. That's cool. And K9, I can't imagine anyone not knowing who he was. I mean, even nowadays. I mean, he's still, right? I don't know. Yes, it is really beautiful, K9. The rolling hills, gorgeous. And the weather in the summer, well, most of the year is really good. Winter's especially this year. Winter is not so great, but it's still not below zero like it's been, like it gets here. Oh yeah, yep. Or remember their in Woolworths their long cafe. I mean, they had like a long bar with stools in the floor, you know, that you sat at, and you could get sandwiches and stuff. I used to love to eat at Woolworths. And have a cherry Coke. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I didn't like cherry Coke. I had I liked shakes, or um or malts, that kind of thing. Yeah, I loved going to Woolworths. And Montgomery Ward, my goodness, their catalog department was huge. Oh, gotcha. Born and raised in Texas. $0.10. I know. It's crazy. How did we get off of Evelyn, guys? Poor thing. Yeah, what I'll have to do. Woolworth was your favorite. That's awesome. I never lived in Texas. Yeah. Yeah, much lighter. It's it's probably a good thing, right? Until you move to Kansas. Gotcha. Yours was amazing too. Yeah. Penny's I worked at too for a while. JC Penney in the catalog department. I worked in the catalog department for Wards and Penny, or yeah, Penny's. K9, I just took a drink of soda and you about made me spit it out. So all your exes live in Texas? Oh. Oh, my good clothes come from the Sears catalog. Love the Christmas wish. I know I did too. My kids really love the Christmas wish book. Just one. That's funny. Oh, gosh. Yeah, I bought a lot of clothes from the Montgomery Ward catalog, and even JCPenney, because I worked there, so I got a discount. until about 2 years ago. Yeah, I would say the same thing. We had one. It was more of an appliance store though, until a few years ago. They closed up. Small town. 8,000 people still had a Sears. I miss that. You can't get catalogs anymore. I mean, you just go online. um, trying to find that photo of Dad dancing. I could show you. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Castle. We like to just lighten it up a little bit sometimes. I have to laugh sometimes, and it's not that I'm being disrespectful to the cases that we're working on. I think most everyone here that knows me knows that I'm laughing for a reason. But it's just because you have to, you know. If you think about it, I mean, all day long I'm looking for stuff, right? I'm looking for stuff for the morning clips, and I'm looking for things to talk about and other videos to do, and all the cases are dark, you know, especially these cases with babies. Oh, that bothers me. You had to drive an hour to get to Woolworth or Montgomery Ward. Did you live in the boonies, Melissa? We have small towns here, and we had both in our small town. That's why you like it here. That's funny. Seriously, Antigo has been at 8,000 people for since I was a very little child. And I'm 66 now, so I mean, yeah, I was probably 7. Yeah. We used to come up here, and it goes 8,000 people then, and it still is. It hasn't changed. Yeah, definitely has. Yep. A little town. Gotcha. I'm a youngster. I don't feel like a youngster. Nothing but cattle for miles. And more milk cows than people. There are a lot of farms in this area. A lot of milk farms. Most of them are potato farms. Antigo is known for potatoes. Potatoes, potatoes. It's crazy. You still feel young. What's your secret? I don't think it helps that I have long symptoms of COVID. Wrecked my lungs. No. No, some of the fields, especially in the spring when you're driving down the highway, oh, and they're fertilizing. Whew, bad news. I visited a milk farm when I was just newly married, and there were some friends of ours, right? And they had just bought this farm. And I couldn't believe, their life was dictated by when those cows needed to be milked or fed or whatever, right? I mean, their lives revolved around the cows. And I remember thinking that was just shocking to me. I hear you there, K9. No taters, all beans, wheat, and corn. Gotcha. I feel over. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't breathe because of my lungs. Yeah. I worried about you today when you were saying that. Whoops. My town is full of orchards, but we are known for the wind. Windsurfers show up in masses April to September. Really? I bet that's kind of cool. The house I owned, my husband and I owned, we were about 25 miles from here. So kind of in a small town of about 200 people. And we had, when we bought the property, there were like 16 apple trees in our yard, all around our yard. They were all different kinds of apples. Walking your goofy dog every day would just put a pep in your step. Yeah, that'd be different. Would be different. Be fun walking through them, right? That or like grapevines. I always thought that's pretty country. You see the rolling hills and the grapevines. I guess I like rolling hills. That's why I like Tennessee so much. It's cool to go down the river and watch all the kite sailors and windsurfers. Gotcha. We had, we lived in a town 45 minutes over, and it's the same size as Antigo when we first moved north, my family. And as teenagers, it was always fun. I think it was on Wednesday nights and then Saturday afternoons. We would go down to the local lake. It was called Boom Lake, Boom, Boom Lake. And they had a water ski show that they put on all the time. And they were really, really good. But as teenagers, that was your excuse to, because there wasn't much else to do in that town. Hence why I was pregnant at 17, right? But yeah. So we used to go down to Boom Lake and watch all the surfers for the water ski show. Apples, pears, cherries, grapes, peaches, and plums. Cool. I love fruit. I think I did get sick of apple though for a while. When all you have in your yard is apple trees, you know, apple pie, apple crisp, apples. You just kind of get over it. Oh, yeah. So you live in the middle of a pear orchard, hate when they spray or turn on the fans at 3 a.m. Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. I used to love pears when I was little. It was probably my favorite fruit. We owned a little grocery store. It was a corner grocery store when we lived in the suburb of Chicago. And so Mom wouldn't just let us go out, and we'd a penny candy counter, right, with all these different kinds of penny candies. You know, if we wanted something, she'd say, "Go out and pick yourself a piece of fruit." But we did sneak candy sometimes. My sister's going to come on someday, and we can we can talk about stuff like that. Maybe we'll have a members only with my sister. She's 4.5 years younger than I am. Just moved to Kentucky from here. Her husband was from Kentucky, so they just moved down there. You have an apple tree with 5 kinds of apples. What kinds? We had Harrelson, McIntosh, Red Delicious, Golden. Trying to remember. Oh, yeah, ginger. Living in the middle of farm country is why, yeah. Pesticides, chemical sprays. Yeah, my sister is goofier than I am, SRP. She really is. Maybe we'll get Brenda Joe on here too, and we'll all have fun. You're not sure. They have apple charts where you can hold them up and you can see what they are. I had to do that because I didn't know. My mom loved Harrelson's for taffy apples because they're kind of sour. She loves those for that. Oh, wow. Yeah, it could very well have been K9. I mean, and of course, you're not going to have an autopsy done on a dog, right? But yeah, I wouldn't doubt that at all. You just ate a caramel apple. I'm jealous. I love those. Has she healed from her fall? Yeah, I think she's healed from her fall, but she's got other stuff going on, and I can't say what. But they ran a bunch of tests, and she's waiting for those tests to come back. She's just not feeling well. She lives outside of town with her husband, but the house that I'm living in is what's her mom's home. And I live in the apartment upstairs from where her mom used to live. Big old home, remade into an apartment upstairs. And I love it. It's beautiful. But so since her mom passed away, there's nobody downstairs. She just has never cleaned it out. She really misses her mom, so it's been hard for her. And she used to come home like every 4 days or so because of her mom. But now that her mom is gone, she only comes home, or I say home, but she'd come, maybe once every week and a half or something. But she was going to come today and she wasn't feeling well. So, yeah. So, yeah, she does need prayer. She's not doing so great. I know. I want a caramel apple too. Does DoorDash do caramel apples? I don't feel like going out. Yeah, she's over here shaking. She's not being too bad today, though. She's a very nervous dog, though. She has to have your attention 24/7. She's just, I don't know why. Maybe because Dad was with her, She used to sit on Dad's lap in his recliner all the time. Yeah, I think she really, I don't know if she's got separation anxiety, even though it's been 2 years. But I mean, we used to have the big crate for her. And so that when we would leave the apartment, we would close her in there. It was her safe place, right? And she was always good. And at night, it was at the end of Dad's bed. So she would just go in there. He'd say, okay, time for bed. She'd just go into her crate, We didn't lock it or anything. She just, yeah. And so after Dad passed, because my sister took Lacey in so that Dad could have her near, when he was in hospice, because he was good right up until about the last 2 days before he passed. He was very coherent and everything. And when she passed, I brought her here. I got her, it's the same crate. She will not go in it. She gets out of it. She causes trouble, and so, yeah, she's just been not the same at all since he's been gone. And so then, because I was still working at the time, she would stay with Aunt Carol, Brenda's mom, downstairs because I couldn't trust her. And so then Aunt Carol passed, right? So I think, Lacey is just having severe separation anxiety or something. And she just craves constant attention. And I can't have her sitting on me all day long because she gets too hot. Yeah, exactly. The loyalty. Yeah. Yeah. And this is a whole new place, right? So, there's nothing, well, maybe of maybe in some of my boxes might have his smell, some of his personal things, but I have his ashes here, but I don't think that would help. But yeah, she definitely is not the same dog. She's still a lover. I mean, she's still a sweetheart. I just hope that she goes before me because me or Brenda. She loves Brenda too. Because I'd hate to see her go with anybody else, that she's not used to. It just would be sad, sad. Yeah, she probably is worried about it. She does. She is such a sweet dog, never been trained for service. But, as you get old and sometimes you just have trouble getting up from the chair, I'll say, here. And she comes over by me and moves her whole body in front of me and braces herself so that I can just pull on her a little bit to get the leverage to get up off the chair. She's so smart. She knows exactly what I want, what I need, and she just does it. My dog is a rescue of her own and passed away, and she has severe separation anxiety. Oh, yeah. See, and that's the thing, we got so that, I couldn't take Lacey to work with me. That's why we ended up, and Carol was fine with her down there. I just had to come home on my lunch to let her out. That kind of thing. But so she got used to Aunt Carol, and then Aunt Carol passed away, and so now, yeah, we don't leave her alone. We take her with us whenever Brenda and I go somewhere. She has to go with us because Aunt Carol's not here anymore. It's like she just will not. Yeah, it's really sad. It's really sad. Irish Spring soap. Lacey likes to go around my soaps. And I have my she must like some of the smells or something because I have some of the oils, the essential oils that I use in my soaps. And she likes to go there, around there, sniffing. Oh, yeah. Well, Lacey is what? She's she'll be 12 this August. Her birthday and my dad's were the same. It is funny that dog likes the soap. Kanan, you need to get her used to someone else so that that's kind of why I did that with, Brenda. Dogs love Brenda Jo. She's just a dog lover. And yeah, so much so that when Brenda Jo is here, Lacey stays downstairs with her. Your crazy dog's out in the snow chasing her tail. We live on the highway. We're on the corner of a side street and the main highway going through town. Lacey's really good. She will not go out into the street. But I never thought about that, SRB. Maybe one of those scents reminds her of your dad. Oh. I have to think about that. He used to wear Old Spice. I'll have to look up what scents are in Old Spice. Aw. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Didn't even think about that. I often wondered, why is she over there, you know? Because it's just those smells. And there's certain ones I know she doesn't like, but okay, well, let's see. I think we've chit-chatted long enough. Let's do our grannyism for today. I thought this was kind of fitting since we were talking about the verdict today. The verdict is still out on my life, the judge having not yet instructed the jury, both of whom are me. The judge and the jury is both me. So the verdict's still out. Just a little humor there. And we have Granny up in the corner. Although my hair is not that long anymore. You make your son shower with Irish Spring. That's awesome. I am seriously going to have to check out SRB. You may be onto something there. So if that's the case, I could put, that if I find out which scent it is, I could put that scent on one of her stuffed animals or a blanket or something. And that might be really beneficial for her. I'm going to check into that. Because I did do that. My sister's husband wouldn't use anything else but Dove for Men. And he has eczema really bad. And I was telling my sister that I have this oatmeal soap that I use that has helped my eczema. And I don't have any problems with my eczema anymore. And she said, well, if you can get that soap to smell like his Dove. So I went online and I figured out which scents were in his Dove soap, and I duplicated it and put in the oatmeal soap and made that for him. He's been doing better. Blanket in her crate. Yeah, exactly. Because we had a blanket in there. She chewed it all up. She chewed it to pieces. I mean, I even had to put, they have like those slide locks, but all the way around the door, because there's 2 doors, because her crate is huge. All the way around those doors, I had to put like snap clips all the way around it, so she couldn't get into it, and she still pushed through it. I mean, oh, I have lavender. I could put those on her toys. Yeah, you guys are helping me, honestly. So the blanket for her crate, if I can get it to smell like Dad, and then lavender to put on her toys for anxiety. Because I told you guys she acts up when I'm on here, right? She paces and she So yeah, you guys are really helping me. That's really gonna be helpful. So I'm sure I have all kinds of scents. Even if I don't have it, I can get it. Old Spice, yeah. I have a spicy one up there that's like for Christmas. I'll bet that's the one. Yep. Yeah, she's definitely a smart dog. She really is. And she has not slowed down. She's 11 years old. She has not slowed down. She no. I use Tide, so all my clothes are still like that with Downy fabric softener. Hand soap, no. But he used the only other smell was his Listerine. But he used Old Spice underarm deodorant. So I'm thinking that might be it. Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. Who remembers Vitalis? For the hair? Vitalis? My dad used to use that in his hair. And do the little wave on top of the head. When Diane gets ready to come on here, that's what Diane's my sister. I'll get a bunch of family pictures together of us. Get to know Granny. Granny and Diane is known as Oma. My sister had them, so I don't think she saved anything because she just moved. I think she threw them all away. Yeah, it does sound like I'm onto something. With your help, thank you guys. Lacey will probably thank you, and we'll let you know. We will let you know. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for tonight, guys. Thanks for all the tips. I think we've got Lacey figured out, hopefully. Yeah. Here's used Vitalis, Old Spice, and Right Guard deodorant. You know, Right Guard might have been his old go-to, but I think he moved to Old Spice. Isn't that funny? Oh, that Vitalis was so greasy. Ugh, it was nasty. Oh, that's so funny. You guys are so much fun. All right. Well, hit the like button on your way out, and we will see you tomorrow. Who knows what we'll talk about tomorrow? I mean, I don't know yet. We'll figure something out, right? All right, guys. Thanks so much. You have a great night. Thank you for watching another episode of Granny's Crime Busters. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and even share the content. You can follow us on any of our other social media platforms at YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We really appreciate you guys, and you can also email us at granniescrimebusters@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.